Coming up on This Week Next Week, we catch up with Joe Pride fresh off Attica's Spring Champion Stakes win. And we look ahead to all the action on Golden Eagle Day at Randwick this Saturday.
Hello, I'm Ray Thomas and welcome to This Week Next Week. Thanks for joining us. Big show coming up. Joe Pride will join us very shortly. Corey Brown alongside me. Joe Pride's having a great spring. How good was Attica? Spectacular in the Spring Champion. Corey.
Very, very special, Ray. He's an exciting horse to come from where he did. And Shangri-La, he wasn't lying
stopping,
down.
Was he?
He wasn't stopping. So they're very exciting horse.
What about Lindemann, who's had a tremendous spring campaign? How would he have gone in the Cox Plate, Corey?
I reckon he would have been very competitive. A few of the guys I heard, Tim Ryan and obviously Richard Callender, talking about him this morning. They said, like top 5, but I don't know. I reckon he would have been top 3 myself.
Yeah, it would have been hard to beat.
Yep.
Godolphin's had a great run with their 3-year-olds. Observer won the Vase at the Valley and back at Randwick. Obviously Attica in the Spring Champion, but Hope was very, very good in the Calendar Presnell, and they've got 2 really nice 1,600 metre potential Randwick Guineas horses for autumn.
That ride, I thought, was an absolute 10 out of 10, Jace. He give it the best ride. He knew where Nash was backing behind him, and he had him where he wanted him. It was good.
And then Cefi Magnetica and Transatlantic. The class shone through in those final 2 races on Saturday.
Nice horses.
Exactly. And the Golden Eagle this weekend worth $10 million. The Carnival Caravan rolls on. And our special guest tonight, Joe Pride's had a fantastic carnival so far. No doubt he's hoping it continues. Joe, good evening. Congratulations. You've got a pretty special talent there in Attica. That was some win in the Spring Champion Stakes, Joe.
Yes, delivered from Godolphin a few months ago, and it's amazing the rise. He's just continued to improve as good horses do. Saturday was pretty special to see him, put 2 really good wins together, the Dulcify and the Spring Champion, and stamp himself as one of the top 3-year-olds.
Joey, what do you reckon his pet distance is? Do you reckon he's just like a real dead set miler?
Could well be. He's been in 2 reasonably high-pressured a mile and a 2,000 metre race in his last 2 starts and come out on top. He's going to evolve as a racehorse once he smartens up, learns a little bit about the game. And once I get my first full preparation with him, I'm hoping I can sort of keep a bit of speed in his legs and maybe have him tactically a little bit better. By that I mean not having to get back too far. So there's a long way to go with this horse, Corey. Like he's a big baby, but very exciting.
He showed a couple of traits on Saturday, Joe, which was fantastic. The Shangri-La boy, as Corey pointed out, wasn't stopping at all. Attica had to sustain a long run. Not only did he have that elite finishing speed, he showed a fair bit of determination to run down Shangri-La boy. I think they're both really talented 3-year-olds in their first prep, but as I said, a spectacular performance by your colt.
Yeah, there's something a bit special about him, isn't there? It's sort of like he's obviously he's by Lonhro, who's by Octagonal, and I guess that's the way, they were both brilliant horses, Octagonal and Lonhro. I'd love to think this bloke could sort of follow in their footsteps and be that kind of horse. It's just turns into a really good weight for age horse down the track. There's plenty. It's a long road ahead of him, but he's certainly making the right steps towards being a very good horse.
Joey, you said he's a bit like a baby. What's he like at the stables? Is he not the sharpest tool in the shed, or is he still just putting it together? Bit of a slow learner.
I wouldn't say he's a slow learner because he's got through to where he has quickly.
Yeah.
But he's a laid-back colt who is quite bully, but he's how would you describe him? He's a bit laconic at times, and he doesn't switch on. But he's sort of a bit of a sleeping giant, and I sort of knew his track record was nice, but I knew when I took him to the races there was going to be a lot we hadn't seen, and plenty under the bonnet there. So he's a pretty good horse to deal with, and he's only going to get better.
Yeah, only 4 starts, 3 wins and a second in a debut prep from a maiden to a Group 1. They don't come much better than that. And for you, Joe, it broke new ground. Your first Group 1 win with a colt, and you've done so with Godolphin, so that would make it even extra special, no doubt.
It was. It's, I've sort of been knocking colts off over the last 20 years with my geldings and ruining stud careers probably, but sort of being on the other side of that ledger, it felt quite significant, because there's a legacy that's left when these colts win Group 1s and go on to go to stud, and that's not the case with the gelding. They're probably quickly forgotten by the public, but a good colt will be remembered for a long time, and really excited to be part of this horse's career, and very thankful to Godolphin for handing me the keys to some pretty serious sports cars.
Joey, you've always had sort of a smaller type of stable, quite unique. Are you willing and are you wanting to now bigger that, are you wanting to have more horses?
Yeah, I am. So I've been around that mid-50s number now for probably at least 6 or 7 years, and what I want to do and the plan is to just before Christmas in the early part of next year, expand by about 20, so go to about 70 in work, and I'm confident I can manage that amount. I'm limited in my capacity to train in that I don't like sort of training them off a computer program. I need to be there looking at them all the time, and that's it's a strength and a weakness, I guess, but it's I very much like to be involved in the process, and I do that by observing the horses more than looking at data, worrying about their pedigrees, all that stuff. I very much want to see the horse in the flesh every day so I can make informed decisions about what to do with them.
Well, I know you've got an extra set of eyes there that the way that he's going, he's could Brave end up on the trainers list with you, is what I was going to say.
Yeah,
mate.
He's a really smart kid.
Yeah. I love watching him at the races. His attention to detail, like you can just see him. He's got it already.
Yeah, he takes it very seriously, and that's right. But I also want him just to enjoy. He's only 19, about to turn 20. He's got to enjoy this time of his life as well in other capacities, because racing as a trainer it's exclusively nearly all you do. So there's plenty of time for that. But he's learning all the right things, asks all the right questions. And he's very much on the right pathway.
Yeah, he's a smart young man, isn't he, young Brave? Joe, is your training philosophy, as you just outlined before, is that sort of a throwback to your days learning off the great John Size, who of course went to Hong Kong and has just been a superstar for the last 20 years? Is that sort of similar to what John Size taught you about that hands-on approach to training racehorses?
Yeah, very much so. John was different in the fact that he was a rider, and he spent, his morning on the back of the horses. He doesn't anymore. He doesn't ride anymore. But so I was never going to learn that side of it from him. But just watching him, build horses' careers, and it's such a long time ago now. It was before 2000. He left in 2000. It's a long time ago, and I'd like to think I've picked up a lot of things since then. But the basis of what I do is very much goes back to what I learnt from John.
Yeah, and he's a great teacher, John Size, no doubt. What about this horse, Attica, Joe? No doubt that's it for this spring, and he's done a tremendous job in his first prep. What are you thinking about for Attica come autumn?
Yeah, so he'll resume all being well, resume in the Hobartville, go to the Randwick Guineas, and the Randwick Guineas will tell us a lot about where we're going. Sort of similar pathway with Ceolwulf, a couple of years ago, and we ended up going to the Derby with him because he was quite dour, particularly as a colt, and he looked like he's ended up being a miler, or that's what he's been successful at so far. But this horse here, we've just got to watch what he does and see how much sharper he is next preparation. What I'd love to see from him is that he does smarten up and gets some speed in his legs, and he can become a 14 to 1600 metre horse. But he is what he is, and if he ends up being a distance horse, we've got to nurture that as well. So a lot to be learnt about this horse, and that's just a matter of giving him the time to develop and watching what he does on the racetrack to make sure we make the right decisions with him.
It's so exciting going forward to see what Attica can do next year. What about Ceolwulf? You mentioned Ceolwulf. He was phenomenal, winning his second successive King Charles on Everest Day, and a masterful training performance, Joe. I know you won't like me saying that, but saving the blinkers for the King Charles, and we saw the real Ceolwulf, to be fair, off a genuine tempo at last. He enjoyed that, Joe.
Yeah, the genuine tempo is key for him. I thought possibly, given the ground was as well, that track on King Charles Day was a touch softer than the Epsom Day, which he didn't like. But I'm convinced the best version of his horse comes in high-pressure races and races with a little bit of cut in the track. But he's got a pretty special couple of seasons coming up now, because I think he'll race till he's 8 or 9 years old. Obviously now that he is gelded, and really excited to think where he could get to. And I was in a similar position with him last year, and the 12 months that's followed has been a bit lean here. One win in the autumn, and now that win again in the King Charles. But him doing that showed me that it wasn't just a small window in his career that he had as a Group 1 horse. He's now done it on several occasions, and can certainly repeat that.
I've become a real Ceolwulf fan, even from the last year's King Charles win. But I loved him watching him, how much he's improved as well as matured and stuff like that. Like he used to, get hot in the enclosure, but he's sort of really put it together. I felt a bit sorry for him, Joe, because his first up run, and we've all been a little bit critical of Chad. It was a gut busting run. And then obviously he was a bit flat, but I actually felt sorry for him, but when you put the blinkers back on, and then the King Charles there 2 weeks ago, it was just outstanding.
Yeah, it was a matter of staying the course with him and not panicking, because that first up run wasn't what we wanted in terms of a ride and in terms of the track condition he had to race on that day. And I'm sure that left him a bit vulnerable, but we needed to stay the course, get him fit, get him to peak fitness, because he's a horse who races very well deep into the preparation. Often 4th, 5th and 6th runs are his best. So he wasn't there in the coat right up until the King Charles, and it was just so nice to see everything come together for him on that week, and then deliver that performance, which was pretty, from my perspective watching, it was pretty breathtaking.
It certainly was. He'll go to the Champions Mile at Flemington next. What about this weekend on Golden Eagle Day, Joe? You've got 4 lining up in the Russell Balding, including the old warhorse Private Eye, who's got his confidence sky high at the moment, Joe.
He sure has. He's been to Melbourne a few times lately, and chalked up a couple of nice wins down there, albeit against inferior opposition to what he's going to race on Saturday. But he's a horse, when his confidence is up, is more than capable at the top level. Group 1 winner already, placed in a couple of Everests, and I think this 1,1400 metres is absolutely spot on for him. He'll be hard to beat on Saturday. He'll run a big race. He's never looked better.
Joey, getting off the subject a little bit, I remember you got a tattoo. I think it was a Sacred Choice. Do you still clock up the tats when you get the Group 1 winners, or you let that go?
I said a while ago I was going to reserve it now for Champions, so I think Ceolwulf might be on his way to one, and hopefully Attica as well. So, but yeah, we used to get them for all the Group 1s, but we started to clock up a few too many. I was not running out of space, but you know what I mean. So yeah, there's still room.
You might end up with a sleeve like I've got.
Joe, just finally, the big dance is coming up, and look, he mightn't be a champion, Headley Grange, but this horse has won 7 races this calendar year. He's just got better and better. He'll start favourite in the big dance on Cup Day, and he's the horse they've all got to beat, Joe.
Yeah, he's racing with such confidence, and I went to Rosehill with him the other day thinking it was just going to be a lead-up run for him, because he needed to have another run before the big dance, and he drew the car park. I think he ended up jumping from 17, and I don't think many people gave him much of a hope. But someone forgot to tell Headley Grange he wasn't meant to be winning, because he came over the top of them and was too strong for them, and beat a very good horse in Gringotts. So he's going to be well placed in that big dance, and it's an amazing race in that the prize money is incredible for it. I think it's 1.6, 1.7 million to the winner. And Kingston Town took his whole career to earn that kind of money, and I know it's a different time and era, but the prize money around for these older horses is absolutely amazing.
Exactly. Well, Private Eye's won. He could take his prize money to over 14 million, Joe, if he wins on Saturday, and he costs 62,500 as a yearling. That's the great game we're in.
The great game we're in. Headley Grange was a homebred, so it's one of the absolute beauties of this sport, is that there isn't a textbook, there isn't a There isn't a computer program that's got it worked out. It's good horses can come from anywhere, and with any kind of background, any kind of parentage, you just got to be lucky enough to. Sometimes it's a matter of just being in the right place at the right time.
Exactly. Well, at the moment, your stable is certainly having a tremendous run of form through the spring. Long may it continue. Congratulations again, Joe, with Attica, and the best of luck for the rest of the spring carnival.
Great. Thanks very much, guys.
There's Joe Pride. You rode for him a lot during your riding career. He's just a tremendous trainer, and he places his horses incredibly well.
And I mentioned Bray, but his attention to detail, Joey, like when I was riding for him, he was great, and he was one of those trainers. He wouldn't give you no instructions, but he never tie you down with instructions, so you sort of could ride the horse rather than ride to instructions. So he's a great trainer.
It certainly is, and the results are showing. Let's recap last Saturday, because there were plenty of highlights, Corey. We'll start off in the first, because, look, Terry Croft, I was really happy for this Hawkesbury trainer to get the job done in the Kirkham Plate with Thrill Hunter. She didn't have the easiest runs. Ash Morgan's saddle slipped. She was there to be beaten. She refused to lie down.
She refused to lie down. Well, you can see Kieran McAvoy gets like probably half a length on a really expensive horse, and it just goes to show, you don't have to pay big money all the time to get horses. But I was so happy for Terry Croft and the owners. The connection, they said there was money for it, and they told me after, I'm not sure if it's true, but he reckons in one go they've paid. She's paid herself off. So
fantastic.
Yeah, no, I was stoked for him.
Yeah, well done. I thought the runner-up, Pearl of Dubai Wide Drought, was really good. On to the Brian Crowley Stakes, and Chris Wells having a great run. This horse is only having his second start. He was a winter midweek winner, going first up into stakes grade. He got headed here by Peloton. Sky Glider, he might have something, Corey.
I reckon he's got a bright future, Ray. He's a lovely horse to look at, as well as galloping. He's got a great style, he's got a great action, and I loved his turn of foot. Like you said, Peloton, got probably a neck in front of him, but he was determined to get back in front, and just loved the way that he lengthened through the line, and he's still putting it together. Yeah,
and there mightn't be a lot more for him, to be fair, the rest of the spring, but he's got a big autumn coming up. I think the crowd started clapping about here, as Nashville said, go on Lindemann. He's a popular horse, and he's in a rich vein of form.
He's in great form. I'm going to say, obviously it's career best form, I think. He's always been a nice horse, and it just goes to show, once he's on top of the ground, you see the best of him. Nash, pretty much all over. After about 100 metres, when he got to the front, he took total control. He goes fast enough, Nash, from like the half mile through the home turn, just to sort of catch him off the bridle. Chad chased to try to, soften him up, but it wasn't to be. He was just too good.
And Nash post-race said, if we get a dry autumn, watch out the Queensland Stakes. It's right in the contest.
He mentioned the name Champion there at one stage on the weekend.
Here's the calendar, Presnell, and I mentioned earlier, Godolphin's 3-year-olds are just storming through these feature races. This is El Hope for Michael Freeman. Again, a very, very promising emerging 3-year-old.
Nice horse. 10 out of 10 ride. I reckon it was ride of the day. He knew where Nash was. He let Nash get up underneath him, give him a little bit of a sniff, and then shut him out of it and made him come around. Definitely the ride won the race.
Too good.
Too good.
Exactly.
Too good.
Yeah. That was Jason Collett. I know you've been singing the praises of Adam Hieronymus for some weeks now, and here he is on Attica in the Spring Champion Stakes. The more I look at this race, the more I can't believe this horse won, because Shangri-La Boy maintained his advantage to the third horse. Right, he wasn't stopping.
No, he definitely didn't stop, Ray. I heard Ronnie go the early crow. He said it was home, Shangri-La Boy. But what I loved, Attica, right about here, he flips his lead leg, and then he was strong through the line. Like, he was going to pull right away. If that race had been another 100 metres, I reckon he wins by 3 or 4 lengths.
Yeah, he's a really nice horse. And, of course, Joe Pride, a tremendous job in his first prep to win a Group 1 with this colt. He was beautifully bred by Lonro at a Savatiano, so he is going to be a star come autumn. Here's the invitation. Talk about stars. This mare is one, Steffi Magnetica. Had an interrupted spring prep, but there's no substitute for class.
She's a ripper. She's an absolute ripper. To get back with the weight that she had, 59.5, I know she wasn't weighted out of it, but her turn of foot and how long she sustains that run for, she's nothing to look at. She's a bit of a plain Jane, but gee, she's got a heart, and a will to win is just outstanding.
Yeah, a little bit motor, running down Gerringong, Gangster Granny, good third, but all honours to the winner, Steffi Magnetica. She was, as Corey said, outstanding. Here's the Five Diamonds Prelude, Transatlantic coming off a Group 1 Toorak win, and about here, Tommy Berry looks over his left shoulder and says, you guys aren't going to catch me today.
It was another one. It was race over after about 100 metres. Once Tommy sat up outside the speed, they took total control of the race. They didn't go slow, but this horse, look...
He's too good. What about 1800, Corey, for him?
Oh, I don't reckon it'll be a problem. If he sits up on speed, he's got a terrific turn of foot. It might take away a bit of his dash, but I think you'll see the 1800 out.
I think Tommy Berry raised a good point. He relaxes so well, gets up on speed and then drops a bit.
Yep.
So
yeah, no, he won really well.
He'll give himself every chance to run the 1800. Here's the Cox Plate. This was a tremendous finish, and Via Sistina did what champions do, Corey. She found a way to win.
Yeah, well, they were sort of potting Buckaroo, reckon that he lied down, but I don't think so. I think Via Sistina just dug really deep, and we know she's got a big noggin on her. That might have won her the race, but still... terrific ride by J-Mac, obviously popped out down around the school, let her slide up. A couple of unlucky runner, or one unlucky runner, the stablemate, Aliana. Yeah. She was quite unlucky, but all honours with the winner. And again, J-Mac, to do what he done after the race, to go and visit Thomas Preble, just goes to show what an absolute champion he is.
Well, just for background, of course, young Tom's had that horrible fall and he's currently convalescing in hospital, and we wish him the best, but J-Mac would have been torn every which way to go to celebrations here. He made a beeline to the hospital. Beeline
for the hospital. He was there, I think it was like 40 minutes after the last race, and yeah, like I said, it just goes to show what a champion bloke J-Mac is.
I'll say it again, no substitute for class, is there?
Definitely not.
Well, this weekend it is Golden Eagle Day, and we saw a tremendous winner last year. The English horse Lake Forest came from nowhere to score a spectacular win in the Golden Eagle.
Macarena testing Lizette. Now Tom Kitten starting to run on. Macarena in front. Steffi Magnetic getting a gap. And Tom Kitten launching. Lake Forest bursting home on the rails. Lake Forest. William Haggis has done it again. Lake Forest got up to nail, I think, Lizette and Tom Kitten on the wire.
Turn up the music. Turn down the lights. I got a feeling I'm gonna be alright. Okay. It's about damn time. So golden.
Now Bella Nipotina starting to run after the 2 leaders. Further back, Lady Laguna running well. Private Eye in the pocket. And then came King of Sparta. Bella Nipotina takes the lead of the 200. And Bella Nipotina draws 2 lengths clear now from Lady Laguna, Sunshine in Paris. But this is a big payday for the Iron Lady. Bella Nipotina winning the Russell Balding comfortably.
I don't want to be alone, but I can feel it take a hold.
That was Bella Nipotina coming off her Everest win to win the Russell Balding. Gee, she was a tough mare, Corey.
Just as tough as nails. Tough as nails.
And she was in a rich vein of form there last spring. The Russell Balding, of course, is one of the feature races on the Randwick program this weekend, and Tab's Tim Ryan joins us, as always, to give us the very latest markets for Sydney on Saturday. Tim, good evening.
Good evening, Ray. Yeah, another big day ahead on Saturday at Randwick. A little bit of rain forecast this week, so not sure what track we'll be on. Maybe somewhere in the soft range would be my best guess. The Golden Eagle Market and Autumn Glow firmed on the weekend. Lots of multis through Via Sistina, Kaying Rising. They're all landing in her. She firms up 225 into 2. Good bet this morning of Panja Tower, 2,500 at the $6. We keep him that price. Angel Capital, it's sounding likely it'll head towards the Orr Stakes in a couple of weeks' time. Evaporate and Sepals also seen a little bit of support there, 11 and 15. The Russell Balding Stakes, Jimmy Star, I thought he was a pick of these in the Tab Everest. He's your 280 favourite. Lady Shenandoah's seen a bit of support. Briasa 8 into 6, War Machine 11 into 8. Money for the top 4 in betting there in the Russell Balding Stakes. The Rosehill Gold Cup at Randwick this year, Wootton Vernick is your $2.80 favourite. Mason Louis $4.50. Early firms there, Imperialist 15 into 9 and Bois d'Argent 15 into 11. On to the Four Pillars Midway, my favourite race to price of the year. It's always hard to sort them out. Meridiana, $8 into $5. She'll have a lot of weight, maybe 63.5, but she's the early firm there. Also a little bit of money for DeBello, 15 into 11 at this stage. Heading down south to Melbourne and the Victoria Derby market. These are all-in markets up now. Observer, impressive on Saturday, a $1.90 favourite in front of Providence, who was the eye-catcher there, $6.50. He looks to be your second pick. Next market to have a look at down in Melbourne, another Group 1, the Coolmore Stud Stakes. I think this will be the race of the weekend. Biwak, your $3 favourite in front of Tentira, $3.50. Beedman's been a good firm since a good jump out last week, $6 into $4. It's been the money horse the last 48 hours. And the other big Group 1 down there, the Tab, Empire Rose, Fangirl, $3.50 favourite. Always money for Pride of Jenny as a $5 chance. Well, Idle Flyer, big win at Randwick last time out. It's been a big mover over the last few weeks, $15 into $8. Looking ahead to the first Tuesday in November, Melbourne Cup market, Alrifa and Half Yours, equal favourites now at $6. Valiant King's been popular all last week. And Buckaroo, money this morning, looks like he'll line up next Tuesday, 15 into 8 just this morning. So the big dance also on Saturday, $4 Headley Grange, $5 Gringotts, $6 Tavy Time. Swift Falcon out of that market. He is going to head for a spell.
And Timmy, which horse are you taking on this weekend?
Yeah, I'll probably regret this because I've taken her on plenty of times before and she just keeps winning. She's still unbeaten, but she seems too short. $2 about Autumn Glow. This is a high-quality field. I've got to take her on.
You're going back there again, Timmy. He's done it about 5 times, isn't he?
Love it.
I know what you'll be doing with yours. Plenty happening in New South Wales racing this week, though, leading into Randwick on Saturday and Golden Eagle Day. On Tuesday, we've got Grafton and Hawkesbury. And the Golden Eagle barrier draw, of course, you can see that on Sky Thoroughbred Central. A midweek meeting at Rose Hill this week on Wednesday. Racing at Sapphire Coast and at Wyong come Thursday. On Friday, Moree and Wagga are racing. Back to Royal Randwick on Saturday. Newcastle is the provincial meeting, and Sunday Muswellbrook and Nowra. Need I ask, Corey, who you want to be on this weekend?
Went to 2-1 after Attica on the weekend, and I already think it's 3-1. Autumn Glow, bring her on.
I'm with you, Corey. I'm going with Team Corey. I'm a massive fan of Autumn Glow. I think she'll soar in the Golden Eagle. Thanks so much for joining Corey Brown and I this week. Next week, we'll see you again next Monday.